and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. You can see it in the top right corner of your screen. Anthony Hardwick alongside Richie Giuliano today, which means it's Wednesday.
Yep.
Every
Always
time
Wednesday.
Richie's in, it means it's Wednesday. Love to be together. And Richie, how are you doing this week? What are some things that you've been up to? Let's catch up for a minute before we get into results.
I mean, busy weekend for us all around. I mean, from Friday night.
So let's
Canfield
just go over
Chain.
your Saturday. I know like you did the cross country with DJ and Donnie and Quinn at like 9 a.m., right?
Yeah, 8 a.m. Got there at 8. Ended up leaving around 4:30, I think, after we tore everything down, and then we went to Valley Christian.
Yeah, then you went right to football.
Yeah, so it was a busy night to say the least. It was a lot of fun, but it was busy. It was definitely busy.
I thought I had a long day.
Yeah,
And then I look at you and DJ and I'm like, geez, always one up at everybody.
it was different too, because like cross country was something that we've never done, and we jumped on the scene in one of the biggest invitationals in like the entire
Oh, yeah.
country. It's top 10.
And I think some of our local schools did pretty good in that. I saw Middle Ridge finish like 5th in their size bracket. Middle Ridge cross country. I'm sure McDonald did something amazing.
Yeah, McDonald was good. Yeah,
because anytime you talk about running, you talk McDonald, and it's a pair.
Yeah.
I know in track, they had their 71st state champion in track back in the spring. So that program knows how to run.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And there was a lot of talent from other states as well. There was the number 3 runner in the United States from West Virginia who came. She obviously won.
Right.
She won by like 6 football field lengths. And then you had a lot of runners from PA that came. So it was a lot of fun. It was different for sure. We had 3 different tents, actually 2 tents and 1 bed of the truck setup. Donnie Riccatelli donated the bed of his truck for Quinn.
I tuned in a little bit. What I was really impressed with you guys, all of you, is the ingenuity to because I knew you came into that day with like a plan of where you're going to set up and maybe an idea of how it was going to work, but it was first time, right?
Yeah.
So we had no idea if it would work, how it would work, what would work, what wouldn't, and you got it up and running, and everything looked like you'd done it before, which I thought was pretty cool. I was like, man, those guys are MacGyvering everything. But my morning, so you go to West Branch and it's a tri match.
Yep.
And most tri matches, are comparably long to a normal JV varsity because they only play 3 sets, best of 3. But I didn't know, like West Branch was taking like 40-minute breaks to feed the teams between games. And then they'd give each team, their normal 20-minute warm up. So there's like an hour break between games. So yeah, I was there. I got there at 9, so I was there before the first game started. I didn't leave till 3, and I had no idea it would be that long.
That'll help us in the future, I think, because now we know, like, hey, if somebody has to do a tri match, you might not be able to do another game in the afternoon.
Well, most tri matches I've done, like you eat when you're off, right? So you eat when you're off the floor.
Yeah.
And then the other teams just go and they play, and really they do like a 12-minute warm up. But West Branch took it full circle. They're like, hey, you guys get to eat, take a little bit of a break. We don't want to overload you, and I thought it was kind of cool. It was just longer than I expected.
Yeah, you're sitting there like, why are we waiting an hour to start this next match?
Can I at least get a piece of pizza too?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. But it was a great day. Middle Ridge, Hubbard, West Branch are all competitive volleyball matches. West Branch beat Middle Ridge, first time that Middle Ridge had lost all season. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
and then last night I had to send Quinn a mental note. I was like, let's remind everybody that EBC in gym games varsity starts at 5 because
Yeah, that's weird.
if you go there, normal people, everywhere else it's like 5:37. So if someone's pushes at 7 o'clock, they're looking to get there at 6:30, which we don't recommend, but some people do it.
Yeah.
You go to an EBC match, then all of a sudden you're going to be there, late.
Why is that? Why don't they start at 7?
It's for basketball too. I think basketball 5 and 6:30 for JV varsity. No, maybe they're just different. I don't know. They just want to be unique.
Well, I know tonight Louisville plays Fitch at 5:30.
Right.
And Warren JFK plays their son at 5:30.
See, usually that happens when there's no JV game, but with Fitch and Louisville, how can there not be?
Yeah, they're two good programs. You think they'd have, unless their JV's playing at 4.
That would be a match where I would assume it'd be a triple header because I think both teams would have a freshman JV and varsity. But 5:30 start time. There was one time last year, and I'll never forget this day. I went to, it was in the craziness of COVID. Things were still getting canceled on the fly. So I went to one. I think I was supposed to be at Brookfield. Went to Brookfield, and we didn't know the game was canceled. And they didn't cancel it until 3, so no one told us. So we went there to an empty school. Okay, where can I go? West Branch isn't that far away. Okay, so we went to West Branch. And there, for some reason, I forget who they were playing. I think they were playing Crestwood. And for some reason, they played varsity first, then JV.
Oh.
So we got there in the second set of varsity when it was supposed to be the second set of JV.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I got to get a game in. I just felt and the teacher's like, you're crazy. I would have left after West Branch.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get a game in. So I was like, where can I go? Fitch. So I went all the way from Brookfield.
West Branch to Fitch is
Brookfield, West Branch, Fitch, and made it just before their varsity started, just in time to set up for Warren Harding Fitch. Crazy.
That's when you're scrambling to get everything set up. You're just like, camera
And
here,
I was
cords, let's go.
I knew Fitch well enough to know their roster, and Warren Harding wasn't YSN school. So it's
Yeah.
if I don't know their roster, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
Yeah. See, when you walk into a gym and they change the time.
That's the
on
worst thing ever. When you walk in, and it's
no.
oh no.
Well, I told you about the story when Harding was playing Canfield, and the match is at 7. I show up at 6, and I enter the gym, and it says 10 minutes on the clock, and I see all the varsity girls warming up, and I'm like, I ask our AD, I'm like, what?
Right.
What are we doing? Is this in between sets or something? In the JV? And he's like, no, our JV match is over. It took 20 minutes to play JV, and he's like, "Oh, it took less than that. It was a 10-minute match. It was just kill, kill, kill."
I've never seen that, even in
oh
brutally
God.
uncompetitive games. That's the quickest volleyball game I've ever heard of.
And then, so they started their varsity match at 6:25, and there was nobody there because the parents weren't even there yet.
You expect to be there at least 6:45, 7.
Yeah.
No, 6:20. Here we
And
go.
then Lakeview's playing Canfield. That match doesn't start until 7:15. So you get there at 6, and then you're waiting an hour.
Was it a long
15.
JV game? Is that why?
Yeah, it went all 3 sets, and then it went extra points. 27-25 was the final. Yeah,
But Lakeview Varsity did not have any problems.
no, they are very, very good.
We are going to talk to Coach Guthrie a little bit later today at 1:15. They're still undefeated. Me and DJ talked about it a little bit yesterday. Feels like it's they're making up for lost time. They've been the dominant team of the NE8 for the first 3 years of its creation, and then only lost one match in those first 3 years. And then Gerard snuck up on them last year. And I think talking to some players, they kind of admitted we got a little complacent with the winning, and we just kind of expected to go in and be NE8 champs again. And Gerard's a really good team. And Gerard took advantage of that, won 3 matches with Lakeview last year. So Lakeview came out this year with almost the same roster, just saying, hey, let's prove to everyone that we're still Lakeview, and we're not going to take second place.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is they've won 24 sets in a row. Their last lost set was to Gerard on the 30th of August, and they lost the first set, and then they swept the rest.
Brian Overidge with a great nugget last night. They'd won 17 straight sets against Niles going into that game. So now it's 20 straight
now.
sets. And A lot of teams in the NE8 are like that because there was a long stretch where they were just undefeated in the NE8. And I think Jefferson beat them once in 2019, but no one else really was even taking a set from Lakeview. It's almost like Crestview's domination of the MVAC where no one can really even take a set, forget taking a match.
Oh yeah, you win. It's yeah, you're right. It's like Crestview. You win if you take a set. But I really want to talk to Coach Guthrie and ask her maybe some challenges that this team has gone through to get to the point where they're at right now, and maybe what they want to do to face some adversity. Because let's be honest, right now they're winning in such a big fashion that it almost just looks effortless. Like you want that one competitive match, like where you could go 5 sets and you could come out with a win, just so your girls know how to play in those tight sets. Because when it comes playoff time and you're playing a Mentor Lake Catholic, you're not going to slide past them like you are with Niles winning 25-10.
And the sad thing is, like, Lakeview has put teams in their schedule that they thought would be competitive, and they're just brutally.
I mean, you put like a Canfield, a Fitch, you have Girard, you've got who else? You have South Range, Middle Ridge, Kirtland, all those coming up. So it's not like they're playing a cupcake schedule. It's like they're trying to play up divisions, like Canfield's D2, and they went on the road and they swept them handily.
And I was surprised by that because when I was previewing, and then the Leopards getting a shout out for a good win and not in 5 sets, which I'm sure Alec Caberta was happy about because he's the voice of the Leopards volleyball team this year. They continue to go 5 sets. I think they've went 6 5-set matches in 11 games. But last night they get the win in 4 over Brookfield. But back to Lakeview, I thought this matchup would be good for them because when they played Girard, the reason they won is because they dominated in the middle, right? And Girard dominated on the outside. So we talked about that. Tara Lytle, Reagan Price, 38 combined kills. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Canfield has 2 really good middle blockers in Muckleroy and Fauntleroy. I was like, this could be a good matchup between a team that really can maybe handle those middles. Obviously, not the case.
Well, the problem really was the serve receive.
Which is not usually Canfield's issue.
No, it's not. I would like to see the stats on how many service points Lakeview had in that match. And we could probably find it. Even if it's, 10, it felt like 50. Like towards the second and third set, you had Maggie Pavlansky, I think, served 10 times in a row during the rally stretch. And then you had Molly Stewart, who really closed things out in the third set, came off the bench and was doing the same thing. Like 8 serves in a row were either out of system or aces. It's like, and there's once you get out of system against Lakeview and you deliver a free ball with as good as a setter as Maggie Pavlansky is.
And Mallory Mylock too.
I mean, Mylock's, she'll set too.
They're running a 6-2 with 2 really good setters.
They have 2 good setters. And you know what impresses me too, and I can't wait to talk to Coach Guthrie, is once you put Lytle in the back row, once it's her turn to serve, Price comes right in. And it's just like, you can't stop these 2. And then once they double block the middle, you go to Schmader on the outside. It's like who how can you beat this team? It's just so difficult to like match up against that team. But I think, Crestview and Mentor Lake Catholic do have opportunities to present a challenge.
We were looking at this district yesterday that they're going to be in about like a month, really, just less than a month district start. Number 1 in the state, Mentor Lake Catholic, is in this district. And then Crestview and Lakeview. Lakeview number 6 in the state, Crestview number 10 in the state, all in Division 3. So you have 3 of the top 10 teams in the state in that district alone. And with the super district, of course, you're going to be able to avoid one of them, but you can't avoid both.
That's funny.
Uncle Bill. Lakeview is very impressive. Would love to see Lakeview versus Crestview.
I love these. Like,
it's a good comment. I don't know who it is. It's a burner.
It's the same person over and over again. That has these
the dedication to make a bunch of YouTube.
I love it.
Is cool. But yeah, Lakeview versus Crestview. We were talking about it yesterday. That very well could be a district matchup because you either have to avoid Mentor Lake Catholic or avoid Crestview or Lakeview, whoever gets the 2 seed. You can't avoid both of them.
Nope.
So Lakeview might be stuck in that situation where, do we want to play Crestview or do we want to play Mentor Lake Catholic?
Yeah.
Now Crestview's had Lakeview's number, and the last 2 times they've met, which was last year and the year before, it's been Crestview kind of handily. They swept Lakeview last year. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's going to be fun. Let's be honest here. This district's going to be so fun to watch, especially playoff time, because Lakeview doesn't have Crestview on their regular season slate. Nobody has Mentor Lake Catholic. That's a haul to get up there.
Right.
So it'll be fun.
Which makes it
comes
funny that
playoff
they're in
time.
our district, right?
I don't understand that. Like, I guess it does kind of make sense, because when you look
I know
at
it's a super district, but Mentor's still a long.
that's a long way. But you could say the same for like Kirtland, though. Because
Kirtland's
Kirtland's
in
right
Lake.
It's in Mentor pretty much. Right
It's in
near
Lake
Mentor.
County, right?
Yeah.
You're right. And Kirtland's a pretty good Division III volleyball team too.
Yeah, they're like undefeated. I think.
Lakeview ends the season at Kirtland.
Yeah. So I think Kirtland's undefeated, which who knew?
Shocker.
Yeah.
When you talk about volleyball, there's some other results that came in from last night. Obviously, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the big result getters in volleyball, and Wednesday and Mondays are the nights where we see a lot of non-conference games, hit and miss with our busyness. Middle Ridge, they lost on Saturday to West Branch. First loss. It was in a try match. It wasn't best of 5. It was best of 3, and it went 3 sets. They went right back to action on Tuesday. A very scrappy Jackson Milton team with a lot of talent, and they swept them.
Yeah, Ridge they're really good. Let's be honest. I mean, they're undefeated still in the MVAC conference. They're 9-0 in MVAC play. I mean, their one loss, like you mentioned, is to West Branch. So that's at a conference, and it's a try match. A little bit different when you're only playing 3 sets. So they lose a tough one 2-1. But, overall, I think in the MVAC, Middle Ridge is that team to beat. I mean, they had some impressive numbers last night. I know you got them up, and you could kind of showcase who played well.
Yeah, Olivia Booth, she led the Rams with 12 digs, 9 kills, just 1 kill away from a double-double, 4 aces. We expect a lot from Faith Schneider, 18 digs, 12 kills. She did have a double-double. Sammy Allett had 28 assists and 16 digs. So you have 2 players with double-doubles and one that's 1 kill away from a double-double. There's so many weapons on this team. Ava Hewlett, not even mentioned. She's also a great outside hitter for the Rams. I think they're kind of like Lakeview in the sense that they dominated the MVAC 2 years ago with Caitlin Lesko and Danielle Allett setting. And then last year was like that in-between year where they lost all those seniors and they were trying to figure it out. They didn't win the MVAC, but they went to a district championship. And now they're like right back to dominating the MVAC. Like, okay, we're back. We took a year off, but we're right back to where we were.
Everybody's experienced now. Schneider's a junior. Booth's a senior. Allett is a junior. So everybody's got that experience under their belt. You got the young sophomore who led on the outside, who's got 131 kills, which is second on the team. So she's been pretty good. And this is just an experienced bunch. And when you look around the valley, you see a lot of experienced teams, right? We talked about Lakeview. They've got 5 out of their 6 starters that are seniors. So, I said this on the broadcast. For a lot of these teams around this area, as good as records as they have, this has to be their year where they have to make a run, because after this, you're going back to the underclassmen where you're going to have a couple of shaky seasons.
How about Samantha Allett? 1,000 assists as a junior. She didn't even set her freshman year because her sister was in her senior year. So she had 724 assists her sophomore season in one season. And she's on pace. She wants to get over 2,000 because that's what her sister did. She could definitely do it. If she does 700, 700, 700, I mean, you do the math, that's over 2,000. So it's impressive. Not a lot of people can get 1,000 in a junior year when they didn't even start setting until their sophomore season.
Yeah, no doubt. That gives you 3 years to get over 1,000, which is impressive. Right now, she's at 350. She's getting like 9 a set.
Right.
When you think about it.
And yes, they run the 5-1, which gives her an advantage. Yeah. But I honestly think she's the best setter in the area. I've seen her live a couple of times. I've seen a lot of good setters live. There's a lot of good ones. I just think she's got all the tools in the bag that you need to be a really good setter. And she's a little bit taller than Danielle Allett was. So she's got a little bit of height on her sister too.
And when I look at volleyball around this area, if you have a good setter, it makes your hitters so much better. Right. So much easier. I mean, the amount of added system attacks that there are in high school because you don't have a good setter hurts a lot of teams. Like, there would be a lot more outside hitters that would be showcased around this area if they had a good setter, because there's nothing you could do when you're backing away from the net and you're leaning away and you're getting an out of system attack. Like, what can you do? Like,
and let me tell you, Rich, this is something that I've noticed widespread in our area that teams are actually struggling with this year. When other teams are out of system, they should be predictable. They should be easy to get a blocker on, easy to defend. But I see so many out of system balls get right past a blocker or only get a solo block. and then go and it's an aggressive out of system swing, so it's still going to be hard to dig. But that should be like, if you're a good blocking team and you can't block an out of system attack, what are you doing? Like, and I see it a lot, and it's like, come on, when they're out of system, there's only one place that setter can go with the ball.
Yeah, you're right, but it comes with maturity, I think.
I know.
A lot of experience. I mean, we saw the college level, so they know. They've been playing volleyball for a long time,
Right.
and a lot of those college players are in their 10th or 12th year of playing volleyball, so they know what's going to happen. And when you get an out of system attack in volleyball at the college level, you rarely see a kill.
Right.
But that's the part of growing up in high school and learning. And when you're out of system and there's only one place that setter can go, that's when you got to shift the defense. And not many high schools know how to do that.
Right.
They're all complacent with their spot, and they want to get in their own zone and like dig whatever comes to them. But they'll learn.
And then the other thing is free balls that drive me nuts. As this the volleyball, like if a free ball drops on your floor, like I'm sure we'll talk to Coach Guthrie about it. Doesn't happen often in Lakeview, but when it happens to a team, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, well, what I see is a lot of miscommunication in
Right.
the back row. They'll dump it over, they'll push it over for a free opportunity, and then you kind of see the two back row players look at each other and say, "Are you going to give the pass
Right.
or what's going on?" And then it just goes
That's
right down.
Communication, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to talk on the volleyball court.
Yep.
On Jackson Milton side, back to this matchup, they were led by Mia Greco with 13 kills, 14 block. That can't. 14 blocks is a lot. But
14
these are
blocks.
stats that reported. I mean, that's a big number for Mia Greco, who I don't know if you've had the chance to see. She's not like the biggest player. So 14 blocks
in one match
against Middle Ridge. That's impressive.
That's a lot.
Emily Foltz, who we've talked to on the show, had 14 digs. Paige Grope had 12 assists. And you look at Jackson Milton is now 7-6 and 4-5 in the conference. Middle Ridge goes right back to it on Thursday. They will take on Waterloo in league play. So you look at some of these other results. West Branch, of course, they had the big matchup last night. Marlington came into town. Richie, I know Marlington's not a team we get to see a lot. I am so impressed with Marlington. Like, talk about a team that's almost never out of system. They give their digs right to the center, right on target.
Yeah.
It was so impressive.
Marlington's, 13-2. They're 7-0 in the Northeastern Buckeye.
Check out their losses. Akron,
Jackson.
Hoban, and Madeline Jackson.
Yeah, everybody around this area is losing to Hoban. And the crazy thing is, Hoban's got 4 losses.
Right.
But they come down to the Youngstown area, and for some reason, they just dominate. Girard did beat them, though. Girard beat them in 5 sets, 3-2.
Was that a scrimmage, though? Did that count against their –
It counts.
I saw 7-2 I saw 13-2 on their Max Preps record.
I don't know.
And it was Madeline Jackson and Hoban.
I don't know. Maybe it didn't. It says on Archbishop Hoban that it counts. I don't know. Yeah, Girard has it.
All right.
Yeah, have it.
Maybe they're a 3-loss team then.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Girard, it says they're 9-2 with a loss to Jefferson and a loss to Lakeview. So I don't know.
No, see, these are really. I'm not going to put the comments up, but the comments are getting. This is when the burner accounts get to the point where it's like, okay, now you're just being silly. But right.
There you go. You could put that one up.
All right, legit. Oh yeah, this one just came in. What volleyball team has the best chance to make a run in the tournament? That's a good question. Crestview, but then you look at their district, and they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to beat Lake Catholic or Lakeview.
Yeah, but when you look at Division II, I don't think we have a team in Division II that could dominate.
No, Girard's gonna have the Notre Dame Cathedral Latin is right there.
Yeah,
right? And they're one of the best teams in the state.
What division is Fitch?
Fitch is 1, which is even harder.
Oh yeah,
it's even harder. And as much as I am impressed with Fitch this year, I don't think. How do I say they're not? They don't have enough of a widespread offense, in my opinion, to beat a really good Division I team.
Yeah, no.
We saw Lakeview kind of take advantage of that.
Mhm.
When Lakeview played them, Jocelyn Jordan had 23 kills, which is great. But then you go to Lakeview and they had Tara Lytle had 19, and then Reagan Price had 10, and Emma Schmader had 9. It was real widespread, and Fitz just couldn't keep up with that many attackers. Middle Ridge is going to have a good chance in Division 4. Wellsville's going to have a really good chance in Division 4. I think
Yeah,
they're a
D4
team
is
that
an easy road.
got off to a slow start a little bit, but when you have Presley Stokes and Amada in the lineup, they're going to be a good team. They figured out how to run that 6-2 offense. I think when they lost to Western Reserve and you watch that game tape, they kind of struggled to get in rhythm when Presley Stokes had to set because they weren't used to it yet. Because obviously you lose a setter like Emily McNichol, and things are going to get a little bit wonky to start. But now that they're in rhythm, they're in system a lot more. I think Wellsville is going to have a pretty good shot at Division 4 too. Middle Ridge is there in 4. They've won district championships before. They've been there. They've done that. I like the teams that have kind of been there, done that. Crestview's won districts. They've gotten the regionals. So I like the teams that know what they're doing when they get to that moment.
Crestview was regional final or regional semi?
They lost in the semis last year to Independence, which had at that point they were going for their 3rd straight appearance in the state championship. And they got there again last year. And how about this, Richie? 3 straight appearances, 3 straight 5-set losses for Independence.
Man, that's brutal.
It's rough. It's a rough way to go down.
That is brutal. I remember last year because I put together some clips of that game.
Oh, Crestview was close.
And they were there. I mean, it was real close.
I think it was 13-11 in the 5th set.
Yeah.
Crestview had a 2-point lead. They just couldn't find that one last play.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, but when you look at that, though, that's a building point for this year. And, obviously they're undefeated, 9-0 in the conference.
I think they're better than last
year. And if they're better than last year, then they're going to make a better run.
I think Abby Emsch has developed a little bit more into a middle blocker. I think Grace Hour is just remarkable. The fact that she can set as well as she does and then become an offensive threat when she's not in the back row with part of that 6-2 offense that they run with Lainey Hour setting when she rotates into the front. I think they're as scary as it sounds. I think they're better than last year.
Yeah, could be dangerous.
And when you have a setter that can set fast middle, a lot of volleyball teams aren't ready for that.
They're the one balls.
The one ball to the middle. There are times when Grace Hour can just kind of push it into Abby Emsch's hand. And it's almost not fair because especially in this area, high school teams at Crestview are playing this. They're not equipped to defend that.
Yeah.
So when you look at some other results, South Range bounced back from their loss to Boardman on Monday. They got the 5-set victory over Struthers. Maria Primavera had a double-double for them. She's an under-the-radar player. Primavera for the Raiders, 20 kills, 18 digs. That's 16 digs, excuse me. That's a quality double-double. Sarah Coons, she was able to get 19 assists and 12 digs, so she had a double-double too. Maddie Dado led the defense with 20 digs, and then Maddie Mook had 5 aces on the night for the Raiders. They returned to action on Thursday as they will host Jefferson. Struthers will continue to press on as they host East on Wednesday. South Range is a solid team. I know their record won't exactly say it. I know they have 5 losses on the season. They've definitely struggled against the top tier of the NE8, but they have the players that are starting to learn. And I think having Coach Irons back on that sideline, everything they went through last year, having him back as a stabling factor to this team is a big boost for them.
And they rely heavily on Primavera.
Yes.
When you look at it. I mean, she leads everybody by over 40 kills. So she's obviously the go-to attacker for the Raiders. They also got some good defensive players. Primavera is one of them, atop the team in digs. Farron's got 133, and then Dado, who has 122. So defensively, they're not playing bad.
We talked about Crestview. How about Grace Hour just breaks into the record last night? Last week, we saw her break the Aces career record with 188 and counting. Last night, she broke the record for aces in a game. She had 17 aces against Champion. The previous record was 12, set by Amelia Montgomery.
Yeah. I mean, she continues to do something different every single year, which is incredible, and they're going to rely heavily on her when it comes to that postseason push. We talked about their strength of schedule towards the end of the season, so you've got a lot of teams that kind of beef up that schedule to get ready for playoff time.
So Crestview continues their league play on Thursday. They will travel to Brookfield for that. It was milestone night in Garfield. Ty Bartell had the call down there, and he had milestones on both sides as Garfield's Madeline Furkey got 1,500 assists in her career. So another kind of set milestone. She already got 1,000 last year. So 1,500 for her. But then on the other side, Camel's Carla Ramirez Ortiz got her 1,000th career assist for Camel. So a big night for both teams. Post-game interviews with Madeline Furkey, the player of the game, Montana McGranahan, and of course, Coach Roach after the game can be found on ysnlive.com. Head over to that, hear what they had to say with Ty Bartell afterwards. But when you have multiple milestones happen on both sides of the net in one night, that's crazy.
I mean, we talked about it before when, Austintown Fitch plays Canfield. It seems like they always have a milestone.
I know. It's 2 straight years that Canfield's been able to put up a milestone up at home against Austintown Fitch. They did it this year with Riley Kincaid's 1,000th career assist. Western Reserve got the win as they took down Waterloo in straight sets, and they bounced back from their loss on Monday. They lost to Austintown Fitch, actually, which is not something that anyone should hang their hats on. When you're a Division IV team like Western Reserve and you lose in the Fitch, that's not necessarily a bad thing for you. Of course, you want to win every game, but that's exposing yourself to a higher level of volleyball than you'll see in most of the tournament.
No doubt. And, like we said, when you jump up a division, a lot of teams in this area have that ability. Something we don't see in a lot of other sports because you've got high-quality Division IV teams in this area. I mean, we address Mineral Ridge and how good they're going to be in D4. You got other good teams like West Branch. You got a Crestview who's D3.
How about this?
Lakeview.
Gretchen M's hitting us with the information that I'm sorry. It's so hard to keep track of what divisions everyone changed because it's a change here. Middle Ridge is actually in Division III this year.
Oh, there you go.
That means Middle Ridge, Lakeview, Crestview, and
I'm surprised they're D3.
Lake Catholic are all Division III. Were they on the? I feel like I sent you that list. I don't remember seeing Middle Ridge.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Because I feel like that would have been something that popped out at me.
No, I don't remember seeing them either. But
Sweet.
There's so many on the list.
No, they're right there, Middle Ridge. Yep, right in between Camel and Poland, who is now in Division III this year as well. But right there. So now you have state-ranked Middle Ridge, state-ranked Crestview, state-ranked Lake Center Christian, Lake Center Catholic, and state-ranked Lakeview, all in that district.
That'll be fun. You're going to be flying all over the place.
Oh, geez. I'm trying to find out where that district's going to be held because I think
it's got to be somewhere around here, right?
Looking at the regional brackets on OHSA, it had Elyria and
oh man, that's a haul.
I know. It was like, oh, geez, that's where we're playing districts. It used to be Salem for a long time, and I know there were some volleyball coaches that weren't exactly thrilled with districts at Salem because that low ceiling at the Quakers gym.
Oh, yeah.
And it affected a lot of points.
They used to play a little bit at Wright State, right? In Dayton.
That's where the state is.
Okay.
State championships are held at Wright State.
Yeah, I'm guessing they play that in the Nutter Center.
Yes.
Yep.
Which YSU is all too familiar with.
Oh yeah, I've been there a couple times.
You didn't sound too happy about it either.
No, it never ends well when we go there.
I know. YSU had a pretty good match despite losing in 5 sets last night.
Yeah, they did. They're
breaking
improving.
expectations because it's been a couple of years of just drudge for them. So
they've used that transfer portal to really bolster their staff. I mean, they've got so many different players from last year. Like when Romo was telling me his prep, I'm like, I don't know her. I don't know her. It's like, where are they coming from? Like Elise Muller, who they got out of the transfer portal, huge outside hitter for Youngstown State. Kind of, gives a lot of relief to Paula Gershing on the outside. She was a transfer. Trying to find where she came from. Evansville.
Okay. From
Evansville. That's one of them. There's a couple other ones. Shafe Bauer, who's a setter. She's from Winthrop, very highly recruited out of high school. And then you got a couple other ones that have been big. So, I mean, it's different than last year for sure. They're competing in every single match, which is nice to see if you're Coach Scott. And, lost that tough one to Cleveland State last night. And for some reason, it doesn't matter how good or how bad Cleveland State is, they always find a way to come to the Beagley and play.
I think it's because they have Mark Hardaway on staff. He used to coach at Youngstown State. I think he knows some stuff.
Yeah.
He knows some secrets, I think. We'll be right back on Running Point. We're going to take our first break of the day. When we come back, we got more. We got, don't forget, Heather Guthrie coming on at 1:15. We also are going to play Tolnar's Take. We won't have Brian on today. He's in a conference up in out of town, so he won't be able to be on with us this week. But we are going to still play Tolnar's Take. We'll talk a little bit of golf like we do every week. It'll just be me and Richie navigating through that. So we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our family's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano. And Richie, we have Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley nominees to talk about. The winners last week, Lexi Muck from Liberty won on the volleyball side, and then Joey Fell from Champion won on the football side. And did Liberty show up or what? Like, it's going to be hard to one up the numbers that Liberty was able to put up in voting from Lexi Muck.
I think she had 117,000.
Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to say the exact number, but yeah, we'll throw it out there. She destroyed the football total.
Yeah,
by herself.
And yeah, Fell I think had over 30, which was impressive.
They both won by landslides.
Yep.
It was a great turnout for both volleyball and football. And now we're in week 5 of Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. And we will start with volleyball. Paige Grope from Jackson Milton. When you make a milestone, you get on the list. It's one of our rules. And she got her 1,000th career assist last week. So you pop her right in. And she's on the list, and she's one of the really good setters. I talked about it. I do think Sam Malott is the best that we have, but a lot of really good ones. She's one of them.
We just talked about her. Yeah, I think she had 14 against Mineral Ridge.
Right.
And they only played 3 sets. So it's tough, though, when you're getting beat like that to still put up 14. So some impressive numbers for sure. I think, what do you got? Olette is the other setter.
Right. Actually, we have the first 3 players are all setters.
And Malott, yeah.
Yeah. And because they all reached milestones, Riley Malott reached her 1,000th career assist last week as well for Southern Local. Second time she's appearing on this list. She tries to win it this week. She's just a junior too. So 1,000 in her junior year for Malott for Southern.
And then coming up, Baylen Brungard, who we wrote a couple articles about on the outside part of things. I mean, she's been leading the Tigers offensively. You got the 2 Brungard sisters there, of course, and Baylen's the one that's kind of taken charge. I think she had 7 kills on Monday against Brookfield and had another impressive one last night. So she's definitely playing well, and why she got the nomination this week.
It felt too weird to not have a Brungard on the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley list. So we just had to kind of throw one on.
Yeah.
And she's living up to that name. You got 2 Brungards on the court. You got 1 on the coaching staff. It's a pretty good time for Tiger fans.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're just filled with Brungards there.
Under the radar player for Ursuline, Trinity Lamb. Gets a nomination this week for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. First nomination for Ursuline on the volleyball side this year. She's one that puts in the numbers. It is a big reason why they were able to win on Monday against Columbiana in 4 sets.
Leading killer so far this year for the Irish. They had a tough one, though. What was that, last night against Canfield, dropping in straight sets 3-0. But so far this year, she's kind of been that leader offensively, senior. So obviously somebody they're going to go to. The Irish are a little bit young. A lot of juniors, a couple sophomores sprinkled in. I think they only have 3 or 4 starting seniors this year.
And then we go last but not least, another setter. It must be setter week because Helena Edgar from Jefferson, and she's on for one monster night against Girard, 48 assists when Jefferson upset the Indians to give them their second conference loss inside the NE8. When you put up 48 against a team like Girard, that's doing something right.
Oh, you have to beat them.
I know. It's incredible. And obviously, she has good hitters beside her with Chloe O'Rourke, who's been on the list before, and then Remy Ryan, the senior from Jefferson, also a good hitter. So she's got a good offense beside her, but 48 assists was impressive against one of the top teams in the area. So that popped our eyes open, and we got her on the list.
And we had a chance to talk to Remy Ryan last week, I believe, last Wednesday. Only senior on the team for Jefferson. Yes. And, our Baird Brothers Big Dogs of the Valley last week were all outside hitters. Mm-hmm. And we only had 1 setter in there and
one libero, right? Because Piccolo was in there from Boardman.
From Boardman. Yeah, so it's all setters this week.
Yep, it's the week of the setters, or as our social media post put it, it's breath takers and milestone makers. The ones that you have up there for volleyball. Once again, we'll just run down the names one more time. We have Paige Grope from Jackson Milton. We have Riley Malott from Southern Local. We have Samantha Allett from Middle Ridge. Then we go down the list, and we will have Baylen Brungard from Springfield, Trinity Lamb from Ursuline, and last but not least, Helena Edgar from Jefferson. We go into football week 5. And the first guy that gets on the list is Billy Skirpak from South Range. Had a tough week against Struthers, bounced back with a dominant performance against Poland.
Yeah, Billy Skirpak, he's kind of due to be on there, to be honest with you. I mean, he's played well the first 3 weeks of the season. Like you said, kind of had a tougher week against the Wildcats at Struthers, but came right back out. And they took care of business against the Bulldogs. a team they've had some trouble with in the last couple of years. They were all 1.5 possession games when you look at the Poland and South Range NEA rivalry dating back to 2019. So Skurpak took control of that game. Senior leader dominated, and now he gets his nomination.
I'm about to say this: not only these two quarterbacks are going to battle it out this week in Arrowhead Stadium, they're also battling it out for the votes. As Nick Bengala is next on the list from Girard. Everyone wants to talk about Michael Palmer, and rightfully so. He's a great running back for Girard, maybe one of the best running backs in the NE8. But Nick Bengala, and a healthy Nick Bengala, has brought a dual threat to this offense, and they're not one dynamic.
And he played a different position last year as well. Like, he's kind of been all over the place as a slot guy. He plays defensively, a defensive back, and it's kind of his time to shine. So he stepped up big, and he's been playing well. Girard, who's 5-0, they're the one team that really can contend with South Range this year at home. See if they could kind of pull off a little bit of an upset at Arrowhead.
Vinny Balone, he's already won, so obviously he can't get on the list again. But he puts a teammate on the list in Anthony Lucente as Lowville tries for a two-peat in the Big Dogs of the Valley voting just in 5 weeks. How impressive would that be if we had two winners from Lowville in 5 weeks?
Lucente, outside linebacker, tight end, one of the go-to guys for Vinny Balone, especially with his height. When you match him up against a lot of the defensive backs and linebackers in that conference, you just don't have much to match up with.
I did a volleyball game on last Saturday, not this Saturday, last Saturday at Lowville, and he walked into the gym. And the only thing I thought when he walked by me was, good Lord, people have to tackle that kid. I mean, he's tall, he's ripped, he's built. Like, how do you even put him on the ground? I don't know.
You see him in the paint in basketball.
It's ridiculous. In the paint, he's a man. But then you put pads on him. I'm just thinking, like, I hate to be the kid that has to guard him. And try to stop him defensively in football, because he must be a nightmare to defend. Tyrell Watkins from Wellsville gets on the list. Wellsville, they're on a run. They're on a little bit of a run right now. I think they've won, 3 in a row now? 3-2 on the year.
Yeah, and they got a big one against Southern. I'm actually going to be on the call for that one. DJ and myself are going to go down to the Wigwam and call that one. So Watkins, he's going to have to step up big when you look at it, because Southern's a team that runs the football efficiently, running like a wing T type of offense, very quick, fast-paced motion offensively. And then you got Watkins on the other side. He's a lot quicker as a wide receiver. So he's going to have to, kind of slow down that defense.
And everyone knows that the first person you circle on that Wellsville offense is Isaiah Greathouse. So anything that Watkins can do to take pressure off him to not be the guy is big for the Tigers.
Yeah, for sure.
Deshaun Vaughn Jr. from Austintown Fitch is your next nominee for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. And, man, I know everyone came into the season saying, what's Fitch going to do without Devin Sherwood? And Deshaun Vaughn Jr. has not missed a beat.
No, he's got so many weapons when you look at it. And, Austintown Fitch has taken full advantage of the weapons they got coming back. Vaughn, who's a junior, he learned a lot his freshman and sophomore years, of course, under Sherwood. Didn't get too many snaps. And then this year he stepped up big for the Falcons. And they've got so many good guys, Williams, James, that could run the football. And then you kind of open up to the receiving core. Donovan Bell Sullivan, the junior, he's had a lot of catches. Evans, of course, who's committed to go play some big-time D1 football. He's had a lot of catches. James, Perry. I mean, they just got talented guys everywhere.
Yeah, and then when you look at Fitch's defense and you look at guys like Brian Robinson, who has offers from almost every – it seems like every Power 5 school you get an offer from. I was looking at his list last night, and it was like Tennessee, Georgia, Texas A&M. You got all the ACC schools in there. Then you got some of the smaller schools as well. It's like, geez, man. And when he makes his decision, it's going to be one of those ones that you might have the hat ceremony and what hat are you going to put on? Because he's a man. And we got to talk with him earlier in the season. Great kid too. Great high character kid. Great leader. He's one of the reasons why their defense probably overlooked a little bit. Everyone talks about their offense, what they're putting up. Fitch's defense, not that bad.
And they're going to have to come up and come out in a big way on Friday night. I think this is Austintown Fitch's biggest regular season game of the season. I mean, they've had some big ones, don't get me wrong, against like a Glen Oak, a Foothill, but Massillon, Washington, different animal. They just beat St. Ed's. 31-28 at home.
Right.
And St. Ed's, I was watching that game on TV on Valley. St. Ed's had it in the bag. They had a first down with under a minute and 40 left to play. And after he got the first down, like Washington jumped on the pile and the kid fumbled it at midfield. And then they came down and scored.
So he wasn't down?
No.
Wow.
He was like, he had the first down picked up,
And
but
he
he
kept
was
trying
like
to
still,
get more yardage. Yeah.
And then Washington had 3 guys come from behind him, and then the one just stripped it. And they fell on it, took it down the field. They scored, and then St. Ed's ran out of time. So, to beat St. Ed's, a team that was number 1 in the state coming into that matchup, I mean, that's impressive. And, they're big. They're big up front, Washington is. And, it's going to be a challenge for sure for Fitch. But if Fitch can go on the road in one of the best stadiums in Ohio and beat Madeline, Washington, they're here then.
They're here, right? And Deshaun Vaughn, before this season, his claim to fame in Fitch athletics was that half-court buzzer beater he hit at Canfield last year in basketball. Now he's showing that he can rip the football a little bit too. That throw to the back of the end zone. I don't know if you saw the highlight from last week. I mean, if he throws it a foot further, there's no way that his receiver makes a catch in bounds. Put it right in the bucket, right in the back of the end zone. And if he underthrows it, it's picked. So, I mean, it was one of those throws. It was like on a dime, back of the end zone, touchdown.
And what stands out to me when you look at Fitch is their strength schedule. I mean, beating Ursuline, beating a team from Buffalo, team from Nevada. You're going to play Madison, Washington. You're going to play Wadsworth, Strongsville. You got Boardman, who's a little bit down this year. Harding, who's kind of down. But still, when you look at the names on the schedule, everybody's good.
I don't think their strength of schedule gets all the respect because you look at, Foothill, and it's like, okay, how do we even judge this team? And they didn't really look that great. Fitch kind of made them look silly.
Well, Foothill,
same thing with Buffalo. It's like, okay, they came in, they've been to a state championship, they're highly doted, and then Fitch made them look silly. So it's like, but we don't know anything about them other than what we've been told. So it's like, how do we gauge how good that win was?
No, you're right. And Foothill's a team that lost 20 starters.
Right.
From last year. And, they're a good program, but when you look at their record right now, Foothill's 1-4.
Look, I don't care who you are. You go across the country to play a team.
Yeah.
That's going to be something that's a sign of adversity.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're not beating their teams like around their area, which is kind of concerning. And, the team from Buffalo is 1-2, but like you said, they were state runners up last year. But Ursuline, I think, is their biggest win.
Ursuline's their biggest win. And the fact that the way I know it ended up being a close score, but I think Fitch took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. I think it was pretty clear in the first 3 quarters. Like Fitch was dominating that game. It was 42-7.
Yeah, at one point.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Fitch does the rest of the season and how they compare with the other really great teams in our area. We have a lot of really good teams. Right now, they're number 1 in the power rankings. So we'll see if that continues. Last but not least, it is. I want to make sure I'm saying the name right. Thomas Andujar. And is it a regular J?
And my guess would be.
What would your guess be?
Andujar.
Okay, I'm going to say that the J's an H sound. Okay. Andujar from Boardman.
I think it is. I mean, usually when you have the J there, it's silent.
It's always
it's like an H.
Maybe someone will hit us up in the comments and tell us. Who knows? Comment section is open. But yeah, from Boardman, he had a big game in Boardman's win over East. Scored the first 2 touchdowns. Really set the tone.
And he had a big game as well against Madeline Jackson, although they kind of got dominated in that one. But, they each scored touchdowns for the Spartans in the loss. Andujar and Torres did. So he's kind of been a guy every single week that's been able to get the Spartans on the board. So kind of their go-to offensive guy.
And when you look at it back in that Cheney game, I know the final score was really uncompetitive, and you kind of look at that and go, wow, Cheney dominated. But if you remember, there was a drive right at a halftime where Boardman was down by 14. They drove right down the field and scored to make it a 1-possession game before Cheney ran back a kickoff return for a touchdown and kind of put it away after that. But that drive at a halftime, he made a lot of really good plays in that drive. A lot of plays that kept the drive alive. And a big reason why they were able to kind of come out at halftime and score. If it was for the kickoff return for a touchdown, maybe that game gets a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they did kind of get handled that game against Cheney, but who hasn't so far?
Right. And it was the second half. Like the first half was super competitive. And like I said, they came out at halftime. They scored right out of halftime. It was a 7-point game. And then Cheney just they got a momentum swinger, kickoff return for a touchdown, one of the biggest momentum swingers in football. And they busted the doors open from that point on.
And if you all right, so looking at this list, if you had to put somebody on the Big Dog of the Valley list that isn't on there, who would it be? Could be on both sides.
Rourke from Springfield in the win over Middle Ridge.
Yeah.
Big win for Springfield. He was big in it. That's a big name. How about now the kid's name is escaping me. Waterloo. Ty threw him up. He had a big game. A lot of people didn't expect him to beat Western Reserve.
Nobody did. That was the one game in our pools that killed everybody's perfect record in week 5. Everybody had Western Reserve except for Ty.
And Ty's got that sweet spot for Waterloo for the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, that's one. What about you for football? Then I'll throw maybe a volleyball in it too.
I would say Hewlett.
Hewlett
for sure. An animal on both sides. He's so hard to stop. I'm surprised he hasn't been on there yet. Just defensively, he's a guy that flies from sideline to sideline. He could be on the opposite side of the field, and he chases you from behind to bring you down. I think he's got to be on there at some point. And then wide receiver threat as well on the outside. He's bigger than a lot of defensive backs and athletic, has a high vertical, and he goes up and he jumps high and he grabs those balls, man. And he's tough to beat on both sides of the football. And he plays every down on both sides.
Another guy that's having a really good year, and it's kind of been I feel like after the first week, everyone kind of just put the team and put him in a bag. That's Donovan Pulaski from Brookfield.
Yeah.
I think obviously that first loss to Ursuline hurt them in the sense of how good people think they are because it didn't look good. But Pulaski is just putting together a quiet, really good season for Brookfield.
And what's crazy is Brookfield's going to win 8-9 games this year.
Right.
Like they're going to be either 8-2 or 9-1, depending on if they can beat Garrettsville, Garfield, because they play Crestview this week, Newton Falls, LeBray, Garfield, and Champion.
For volleyball, we don't put players on the list 2 weeks in a row, but Grace Hour, I mean, my word. Yeah, not only did you break the ace in a career record, you broke the ace in a match record, and you got your 1,000th career assist. I'm sure she'll be on the list again before the season is over. But that's one name that would. I'm sure a lot of fans that don't understand that we just don't do same players 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Are like, why isn't Grace Hour on the list?
Yeah, no, you're right.
And then Madeline Furkey is another player from Garfield that will probably be on next week because he broke the milestone this week. We'll probably have both Ortiz and Shirky on the list next week. When you break milestones, it's kind of one of the things we like to put you on.
Yeah, I would have to say Reagan Price.
Oh yeah,
sophomore middle for Lakeview.
She goes under the radar because Tara Lytle casts such a big shadow.
Yeah, but she's not that far behind.
And she's not. But people I feel like the casual fan, when they look at Lakeview, they do, Tara Lytle's their star, right? But when you look at it, it's like Reagan Price does almost the same exact thing when she comes in the middle.
No, yeah. And she's a sophomore.
Right.
Which would be huge for that program moving forward because, like I said, they lose 5 of their 6 starters.
But look, next year, Mylock's coming back and Price is coming back. So you're going to have your setter, who I always think is the most important to bring back. If you bring back a setter, you're going to be in good position.
Yep.
And then you bring back a solid middle. I know you lose a lot of defense. Brooke Schneider and Maddie Bayes, I think, are the two people that you're going to lose that people don't talk about how much they're going to miss them because their back row presence is so important.
Yeah. Well, Schneider, she's able to handle a lot of good outside attacks when they go cross court because she usually plays in that back row. And she was able to keep up a lot of balls. They got some good in-system attacks from that back row. And, that's a difference maker when you look at the defensive side of things for the Bulldogs.
2 years ago, Maddie Bayes in her sophomore season was like a couple of digs away from being named the YSN Defensive Player of the Year. So she's grown a lot. She's a good libero. When they lose that defense, I think defense and setting are the two most important parts of volleyball.
Yep.
Despite being not the flashy parts, not the parts that get in the stat line. They're if you don't have that, you don't have anything.
No, you're right.
Right. So interesting topics to talk with Coach Guthrie about when we have her on at 1:15. We'll run down the football list one more time for you, as it is Billy Skirpak from South Range And then we'll have Nick Bengala from Girard, Anthony Lucente from Lowville, Tyrell Watkins from Wellsville, Deshaun Vaughn Jr. from Austintown Fitch, and then Thomas Andujar from Boardman rounding out the list. Voting is unlimited and ends Sunday at midnight. Head over to ysnlive.com/bigdogs and cast your vote. Do you ever throw in votes every now and then just to kind of hit the button?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, not usually, no.
Sometimes I find myself like bored and I'm like, oh, I'll just kind of throw in some votes. Or
See,
at least
if I see
at
him play,
least
I'll
to
probably
see,
do it.
at least to see where the number is at, right? Like,
That's why I do it. Yeah. When Danny Inglis was on it, I hit him a couple times.
So like I'll just like throw in a vote here and a vote there just to see what the total is. These just went up this morning, but sometimes you can tell right away if the vote totals are going to be big because they'll explode really quick. Like look at volleyball's already at 2,042, and it's only been up for maybe 3 hours. So volleyball is bringing it. Football also their total is at 1,916. So already the voters are putting some impressive work in. It's always fun to see like when they go up and they've only been up for 3 hours and it's school hours. People are going nuts.
They just refresh.
I know it's crazy. And Liberty last week. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the record is for most in a week, but that's got to be close.
What was it again?
117,000 and change. I think she had more than it would be close, but more than the football total and the rest of the volleyball players combined.
Yeah.
That's something else. And she had a big game last night against Brookfield to kind of back it up.
I wanted to ask you what inspired you to wear the Tigers.
The LSU. Well, see, I always say it in softball season. I got a bunch of different colleges in my closet. I'm a supporter of LSU softball because I had a friend that went from Miami of Ohio to transferred to LSU as a catcher. Went from shortstop at Miami of Ohio to catching at LSU for 2 years before she graduated. So you follow her there and you get some swag and you go and you watch her a couple of times. I had a chance to watch her when they played in Kentucky. You build a lot of friendship. I build a lot of friendships in softball, and that's why I support so many different schools. Tennessee because Aaron Gabriel went there, and I went and followed her, and you meet a lot of people through the Akron Racers who go on to coach at different places. So I got coaching friends and I got player friends all over the country for softball. One of my good friends from Willoughby South is playing at Mizzou right now, going into her sophomore season. So, you just try to support everybody. Georgia Tech's still my team. If anyone's playing Georgia Tech, sorry about it. That's who I root for. But softball season, I try to pour support into as many people as I can. And I kind of felt like the purple today. I don't know.
Well, all right. I mean, I respect it.
Their softball stadium at LSU is ridiculously awesome.
Yeah, it's probably the best in the country.
Well, Road Stadium is there with Alabama, but LSU is right there. And actually, I'm kind of biased at Georgia Tech because when it's a night game at Tech and you have the skyline of Atlanta in your backdrop, it's kind of like PNC Park, like a city skyline in the backdrop.
That's a bold statement.
No, I'm like in the effect that a city skyline in the backdrop does to a stadium.
Yeah,
it's a little bit better than just like trees or whatever. Like having the city back there kind of looks really cool. And PNC Park has that same effect.
Do the Racers still play?
No, they got first they got sold out to a China conglomerate that kind of took into the team, and then after the China team went for a year, they kind of left, and the Mexican national team came in and made a MPF team, and they took it over. So they were the Cleveland Comets, and they had a 75% Mexican national team roster with every now and then they'd have a draftee. The MPF, the National Pro Fast Pitch League, in their last 4 years they were trying to build the international game of softball because the Olympics were coming. And I think they were trying to feed off the excitement of it being in the Olympics. But what they missed was no one's going to watch Team Australia versus Team Canada or whatever it may be. Like at the end, they had two teams that were only two out of their 6 teams were completely American rosters. And when you're already trying to grow this sport in the professional level, you can't make decisions like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why it folded.
So who plays at that stadium now?
Nobody other than
So it's just vacant.
it's the state championships for high school softball now, and the city of Akron took it over last year, so it's not even owned by the Racers Foundation anymore. So now the city of Akron doesn't have it running for travel ball in the summer. They've gotten rid of it used to be the host of the MAC tournament.
Really?
It's not that anymore. So it's lost a lot of usage, and that's why last year they showed up for the state championship, and some of these coaches were like, this isn't really nicely kept anymore. Like, you're not keeping up with this field. They weren't exactly too happy about it. The city of Akron wanted to turf it, and
They should have.
95% of the coaches declined it.
Why?
They don't want a turf field for state championship because, to be fair, not a lot of teams have a turf field. So it'd be like, hey, we're gonna go play on turf for a state championship when we've played on dirt all season.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because you probably could use it for multiple things if you turf it.
Right. And the weather would not be a factor.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're not going to hire someone to maintenance it and keep it up, you better turf it, because you showed up last year and it was like, ooh,
Well,
some of the grass was dead and it was just like, ooh.
That's why I don't understand why they're playing there then. If nobody's playing there all year round, and
You have to play your state championships there because it's a stadium. Like, it's a stadium setting. It's the only place you can probably put that many softball fans in one place.
What about Ohio State?
They do have. You could go play at Ohio State softball stadium, but I don't know if Ohio State would be up for that during their softball season.
But if you could find like a day or two,
because it would take the whole weekend, right? Because you play your semis and your state championships in one place. It would, right now it takes Thursday to Sunday to play your state semis and your state finals.
I wish Ohio State still hosted the Ohio High School Football Championships.
Did they used to at Horseshoe?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't even. I just remember it being at Hall of Fame Stadium. I don't
It
remember.
used to be at Ohio State.
What? That's that, because now the knock on those, and I know like Arrowhead hosts not just the Missouri State Championship but the Kansas State Championship as well. So it's weird going across state lines to play a state. But when you're in that kind of, it almost makes the crowd look tiny.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't know. It's definitely a cool experience. I mean, how many high school kids get to play? They say they played in the Horseshoe, or played in Cleveland Brown Stadium, or even Paul Brown Stadium down there in Cincinnati. I like to give them that experience.
Well, going off that point a little bit, when you look at when they determine like regional and like state venues, that's already like years in advance.
Right.
Like,
And then how much would it cost? And this is all, how much would it cost at HSA to rent out a softball stadium during season? Like I'm thinking that Ohio State would want compensated for that.
Well, yeah,
big time.
Well, I think they pay
right
whoever anyway.
And they've already established that they don't want to pay a lot for renting. I mean, remember they tried to pull us off the Fort Betts for the football state championship during COVID because it was the cheapest thing they could find.
Yeah,
I don't know if they would fork over the money to go to Ohio State for a state championship.
I wonder how much it is for Firestone.
Probably not. The city owns it. Probably not too much.
So I wonder. I don't know, because it's kind of concerning.
It's probably like the biggest bang for their buck because it is a stadium. You get the stadium atmosphere. I don't know if you've ever been there before.
No.
It's it holds 2,000 people, so you can fit fans for both sides in there. It gets pretty packed, and it's built for professional softball, so it's still a stadium atmosphere. It gives the players that experience. But the same thing could be said if you go like to Ohio State or even one of the MAC schools. You go to Akron, play on their stadium. It's still a stadium. They still have stadium seating. I don't know if either one of those stadiums hold 2,000 like Akron, but
I think Ohio State's close.
Yeah, their softball stadium is pretty nice. I went down there a couple of years ago to watch Allison Smith from Champion, and it's a pretty impressive softball stadium.
Let me look up the capacity. 1,500.
All right, so you got about 500 extra people that you could fit in Firestone, but they count those. They have bleachers a little bit on down the foul lines that count as capacity. So I'm sure the stadium seating is the same. I don't know if Ohio State has the bleachers down the foul lines that Firestone has.
No, they
probably
don't.
Add another 500 to that total.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I just looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty. Do they have a press box there?
Yeah. Well, they have a press box that their PA announcer and people. It's a tiny little press box. And then when we were broadcasting, we're like on the bench outside the press box. There's like a whole press table. So
you're in the crowd.
Yeah, you're right in the crowd, but there is an overhang, so you're not in the elements. I remember me and Alec did a West Branch regional semi, and it started to rain during it, but
God.
we weren't affected at all because we were under the overhang.
Yeah, I'm looking. It's actually really nice. Now
Yeah, it's a nice stadium. And back before the city took it over, and Joey Arrieta, who was the owner of the Racers and still owns the Racers Foundation that raised money for that field and everything, she kept it up by herself, by the way. But now they kind of, the city of Akron wanted to get all the money from it instead of giving the money to the Racers Foundation when things would come in. And that's the way it works. Money kind of rules everything.
Tough.
But yeah, if they keep not keeping it up, they're going to have to either turf it or move at that point, because you can't play on an unkept softball field for a state championship.
Well, here's my thing too. You talked about 95% of the coaches said no.
They did. They because it was brought up in the meeting last year before the season.
But at what point does it become the city of Akron's choice? Like, they could just say, "Hey,
we're turfing it, and you can play here if you want to."
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
But then
if
it's the OHSA's decision.
If they leave, then what's Akron going to do with it? Because you gotta.
We'll probably open it up to like
Right.
high schools and different travel softball tournaments.
Yeah, even last year.
That's where I think Fitch is smart.
Yeah,
Fitch is very smart because they play travels baseball and softball. They play Bobstein Park games there. They play some of the NABF games that you need to play there because there's not enough fields at St. So
and that's a big reason why Fitch hosts districts.
Yeah, and they hosted. Like, I thought they were very smart by turfing that because it's a future investment.
Now, look, there are some coaches that get mad at it because, like this season, if there was rain, they would automatically say we're gonna move from, like, let's just example. They're playing at South Range, or they're scheduled to play at South Range. It rains a little bit in the afternoon. They say, okay, we're moving it to Fitch. Without even trying to reschedule it, they lose that home game, it's right at Fitch.
Yeah, you're right.
And Fitch played a lot of home games this year because of the weather. So there were a lot of coaches that were just a little bit upset that they were losing their home games. But hey, to each its own. We have back to volleyball and back to fall. We have Heather Guthrie coming on from Lakeview. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time during your lunch hour too. We definitely appreciate that, and appreciate all your time that you're able to give us.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me back on.
Coach, what a stretch this has been for your squad this season. Undefeated in the NE8. You've won 24 consecutive sets dating back to the 30th of August when you lost that one to Girard. Then you came out and beat them in 4 sets. What has this last 2 weeks been like for your squad? Just dominating.
The last 2 weeks have been really well for us. We have just been playing very well. We've been playing very consistent. We're playing our game right now. Our girls are communicating so well with each other on and off the floor. It's like they almost can read each other's minds. It's kind of crazy when they play with each other. It's like they're just constantly like vibing off of each other. And, we're really sticking to our game plan right now. So, yeah.
For all your seniors, I should say, this is like their last go around with each other. Have you seen kind of a sense of urgency every time they go on the floor this year to know that this is the last time they get to play at this gym or last time they get to play this team, and they kind of have this sense of urgency about them every time they go out on the floor?
Absolutely. I think that is really hitting home for them this year. I really feel that they are taking on that role of, going all out and wanting to leave their mark on Lakeview volleyball history. And, they're doing a great job with that so far.
Coach, I think you guys have one of the best setters in Maggie Pavlansky. Even at his distance, she's able to give a great set to either the outside or the middle. Maybe talk about what she's meant to this program in the last couple of years, because she's been involved in, basketball and volleyball in a big way throughout her high school career.
Yes. So Maggie obviously is an amazing setter. She is so strong. She puts a lot of work in the weight room, as well as, playing all these other sports, I think helps with her strength as well. But she is so mentally strong. I feel like that is another thing that makes her such a great setter, is that she is mentally strong. She believes in her hitters. She makes her hitters believe in her. She takes on the role that if I want my setter, or if I want my hitters to get a kill, I need to give them the ball. And, she's running a great offense right now. She had some great role models to follow. It's crazy because actually last night was a year since she got her 1,000 assists, when she got her 1,000 assists last year. So, that's really cool that we got to celebrate that again with her. But she's just running a phenomenal offense. And Maggie's the type of person too that knows that, she can't do it without a pass. And our defense and our back row players are just giving her, 3-point passes 9 times out of 10. So, and she can run it with that. So
what I've been impressed with seeing you guys is Mallory Malott, who comes in when she's not setting, and they run a tandem offense, like you said. But how much of her success and her ability this year and confidence this year comes from working with Maggie Pavlansky every day in practice?
I definitely know she feeds off of Maggie. I know last year she asked Maggie a ton of questions, but Mallory is one of those girls too that honestly has put in so much work outside of just practice and season. She went to a ton of camps this summer to improve her skills. She works out almost every day in the gym. She has given herself to this sport. She is definitely a lot stronger physically and mentally than she was last year. So Maggie has definitely helped her with that. I know Maggie, encourages her a lot and says, hey, Mal, do this, or hey, Mal, that was a great set. Keep it going. So, they definitely feed off of each other very well. And, Maggie knows that she had great role models when she first started. So I know she took on the role of being a great role model for Mallory as well.
And the setters have been so good this season because of that initial pass that they get. You kind of touched on a little bit. You got a great back row with your libero and Maddie Bayes, and then another defensive specialist in Brooke Schneider, who can also hit it on the outside as well. So maybe touch on those two players and how much they've meant to the defensive side of things for your squad this season.
Again, just seeing the growth in those two, they really didn't start until their sophomore year. So just seeing how much they've grown over these last couple seasons is amazing. Maddie has definitely took on the role as being the person who brings energy to the floor and, tries to make the player make her teammates laugh. She knows that her job is to keep the ball off the floor, and she has really taken on that role this year. Brooke is one of our most consistent players. She may not be the biggest hitter like Tara or Reagan or Emma, but I know that when Maggie or Mallory gets her the ball, she's going to keep that ball in play. She has very limited errors this year, hitting wise. She definitely stepped up with her serving, because her serving was her weakest spot of her game, but this year it's become one of the strongest spots of her game. Her defense has always been phenomenal. She reads the court so well. She's so quick. Her first step is so fast. So, she's just doing very well back there as well.
All right, and as we continue to shine a light on your roster, I feel like this is becoming a let's talk about this star. I've got to talk about your middles. Tara Lytle, of course, everyone knows her, and she's been kind of the shiny toy in your toy chest for the last couple of years. But when she rotates out of the back row, you bring in Reagan Price, who does just as good in the middle. What kind of a luxury is it for you as a coach to not lose anything out of the middle when Tara Lytle rotates out of the front row?
Again, Tara has definitely been a role model for Reagan. I know last year Reagan said, I want to hit the ball like her. I want to be a force like Tara is. And she's worked so hard to do that. Again, she went to a ton of camps this summer as well to improve her skills. And, she goes to the gym with Mallory, actually, and they work out together and they push each other. So it's great. Tara is just one of those players that I am so lucky to have. And she's so strong offensively. And this year, her mental game has really stepped up. This year, she's not scared to tip the ball if she has an offset. Whereas in years past, we would always tell her, it's okay if you tip. You're still a good hitter if you tip. So she's really taken that mindset this year as well. Reagan follows her in the sense of, I want to hit like Tara. I want to go in and be just as big as a force as Tara is. So they don't see me as the weak one when Tara comes out. They can't take advantage of us when Tara comes out. So they definitely feed off each other as well. I love in practice when they're blocking each other. It's just, it's great. It's not great, but it is great because it makes them work harder. So, they're just doing so well.
Coach, I've been fortunate to cover your team 2 out of the last 3 games, 1 against Hubbard, 1 against Canfield. And one thing that stands out to me is the efficiency when serving. You talk about Maggie Pavlansky, Molly Stewart, who came off the bench, and she served, I think, 9 times in a row in that third set to put things away against Canfield. What does your team work on either in the offseason or during that week of practice to be so efficient behind the back line?
Well, this year we definitely talked about how first ball contact includes serving. A lot of times people don't think of serving, they just think of passing or blocking, but it definitely comes from serving as well. Our mentality this year has been when we go back to the back line to serve, we want to be back there 4 to 5 points every single time. And this year in practice, we've really focused on that. We focus normally 1 to 2. Mainly, I would say, I'm trying to think like what my practice schedule is today. I can't remember. We are going to work on some serving today. Probably for about like 20 minutes, we dedicate to serving almost every practice.
And with that, I mean, you still keep aggressiveness with your serving too. I mean, you're trying to spot serve as much as possible. Yeah. You see a lot of teams when they want to be efficient with their serving, they'll have to sacrifice the aggressiveness. How have you guys been able to keep your aggressiveness with serving, pick apart the other team's weakness on the serve receive, but still stay efficient?
Well, again, that comes from practice. And again, in practice, I make them hit all their spots before they can move on. If they don't, they have a punishment. So they don't really like punishments. So they're going to do everything they can to get those serves where they have to go. So they're working very hard on that. Again, I forgot to talk about Molly, so I'll go back to her. But Molly is one of the strongest servers, I think, in our conference. She may not jump serve, but how much power she has behind the ball and her ability to hit any spot that I give her. If I give her, a spot 9 times out of 10, she is hitting that spot, and it's with force and it's with power, and it's hard to control. She has a nice float drop serve that just gets everybody back on their heels, and then it just drops right in front of them. So, but yeah, I mean, we really focused on serving this year. We knew last year that serving wasn't the strongest part of our game, but it was a part that was missing, and that was something that we really needed to focus on this year.
Coach, a great stretch in the last 2 weeks. And, this is kind of one of the matches you circled tomorrow night against Girard. Girard was able to get you for 1 set last time, but you came out, beat them in 4. And, they have 2 really skilled outside hitters. So what's kind of the plan of attack to take down the Indians for the second time?
We're going in with the mentality that we know it's going to be a 4 or 5 set night. We're not walking in thinking that it's going to be a 3 set night either way. Either they're going to beat us in 3 or we beat them in 3. We know that's not going to happen. Bree and Lauren are 2 very, very strong hitters, but they also have a couple other hitters, that we're focused on as well. Like Nico Cochran on the right side, she can pick apart a defense like I've never seen. So she has a great swing as well. But tomorrow night, we're just really focused on our game plan, and I'm not giving that away, but our game plan is, mainly our game plan is really just to be consistent, play our game, play to our level, keeping our energy high the whole time, and just making sure that our mental focus is there from, warm-ups to the last whistle.
A lot of people are going to talk about the player matchups, and that's awesome because there are big player matchups in that game. But the coaching matchup in this one is fun too, because last time I was there in Girard, you and Coach Walters both made adjustments, and we're trying to work the chess match. What's it like coaching against a guy like that who is just as respected as you are, and you're trying to find little ways, little advantages that you can have against his adjustments? Does it keep you on your toes as a coach?
Well, what's really funny is Phil was one of my coaches once back in the day when I played travel volleyball. He was one of my coaches back in the day. So I definitely learned from him. I wouldn't put myself at his level yet with coaching. Phil has always had a very strong program from when I played him when I was in high school. When I was a champion, he coached at Girard. He always ran a great program. I learned from him as a player, and I still learn from him as a coach. I went back and watched our film, and I even saw the adjustments that he made on defense. And I'm like, wow, I would have never thought to do that. So he definitely has given me some pointers, but I respect Phil so much. I don't think I've ever seen him get angry at all. I've never seen him yell at a player. I've never seen him really get too upset with an official. And that to me is very respectable, because you don't want to be that coach that yells and screams all the time. So I definitely have learned from him in that aspect. But I'm excited. Phil and I have a good relationship. And, like I said, I learned so much from him as a player and as a coach. And I like playing against coaches that have all those weapons and, tactics that they use to try to make their team win. It makes me a better coach as well.
Coach, we've highlighted a lot of individual players so far with your squad this season, but it looks like as a team, you guys gel together very well. A very unselfish team when you think about it, because Lytle gets a lot of attacks in the middle, and then Price will step up. You got Schmader on the outside, then you'll have Schneider. Kind of talk about the team aspect with this. Nobody is very selfish about how many kills they're getting in a particular match.
Right. Like last night when we played Niles, Emma really stepped up. And when we played Canfield, Emma really stepped up. She hasn't seen a lot of the sets because it's mainly been a middle dominant team this year, but she has been so consistent with being patient. And when the ball gets out to her, she takes care of the ball. That's the thing. My hitters know, you know what, maybe Tara's not having a great night. So then someone else will step up and cover for her. So I don't know, like our hitters they're playing so well right now. And again, I think it's because they're just gelling as a team and they all want to win and they all want to make sure that this is the best season that they have. So they're all stepping up in little ways, but have a big impact.
All right, before we let you go, I know coaches like to take one match at a time.
Yes.
But I can't end the interview without talking about this district that you're in, because you moved down to Division III, but we're looking at this district and we see 4 state-ranked teams in Division III in the district, and Mineral Ridge, you guys, Crestview, Lake Catholic. I mean, how excited are you? How you start the last month of the season, you start to kind of think about in the back of your mind a little bit, how can I get my team to the best possible spot before then? What do you see from this district and how's it lining up?
Well, again, we went from a Division II district, which had state-ranked teams, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, Mentor Lake Catholic, Girard, us. And, when I found out we were going Division III, I'm like, oh my gosh, we'll have a little bit of breathing room. And then, Mentor Lake Catholic comes down with us. So, that's always great. But then, we have teams like Crestview, Mineral Ridge, Kirtland. Our district is, going to be powerful again this year. We're excited. We would rather play teams where we know we have to play at our best. And we're going to have a ton of competition on the other side of the net. I think that the end of our schedule, we're going to play Ridge and Kirtland. I think those are going to be 2 big tests for us as well. So, we had Fish at the beginning of the year, which was a big test, again, getting us ready for tournament play. Canfield, Girard 2 times. We're going to have Jefferson 2 times. Those are teams that help us get ready for tournaments and playoffs. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. I would love to just make it past district semis this year. So that's our goal.
All right, Coach. We wish you the best of luck on that goal. We'll see you tomorrow in Lakeview against Girard. I'm looking forward to that game, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. Thank you again for your time, and we look forward to talking again real soon.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Heather Guthrie, the head coach of the Lakeview Bulldogs. Great coach to talk about, and I like that. Like I said, I like watching the coaching chess match between her and Phil Walters in the Girard Lakeview matchups.
And it's kind of cool because Phil's got his daughter in the back row, Bailey, who's the libero for that squad. So, a little bit of extra competitiveness for the coach, and it'll be fun for sure. Lakeview, who kind of took over after that first set back on the 30th of August. So, Girard now going to Bulldog territory is going to have a little chip on their shoulder, especially with, like she said, with Lytle and Polone on the outside who are going to bring a threat. So if they're able to block on the outside, I think Lakeview is going to have a lot of success. What is that, tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, yeah. And one of the things that got them the win, like we said in the first game, was their middle advantage in Tara Lytle and Reagan Price. But one of the adjustments that she made, which I thought was brilliant, was she moved Emma Schmader to the right side and got her some right side attacks against whoever, whether it was Lauren on the right side of that point or Bree on the right side of that point. It was the girl that wasn't getting set the most on Girard's side, which usually means they're not really, you're trying to block in the spot where you're going to get set. So Emma Schmader got a lot of one-on-one matchups on the right side, and she really used that to her advantage in the last couple sets of that game against Girard. They were close sets too. 26-24, I think, in set 3 and both in the 20s in set 4.
Well, in that set, then Pavlansky was probably doing a lot of back sets to throw him off.
Right. And she's good at disguising that too. A lot of setters you can read if they're going to back set before they do it, because they start to kind of get behind themselves to anchor it up. But Pavlansky does a really good job staying square. It looks like she's going to set middle again, and all of a sudden that ball is going behind her to Schmader to the right side.
Mm-hmm. And we kind of talked about it a little bit with the weapons that Lakeview has. Coach talked about it too. Everybody, it's almost like that next player up mentality.
Right.
Lytle might be off a little bit, which rarely happens.
Let's be honest.
So, maybe Lytle gets defended, the last 3 swings. Price comes in. She hammers down that first ball. Schmader can't get a kill. Then you have a defensive specialist in Schneider who's very accurate, like Coach Guthrie was talking about, very rarely gets an attacking error. She'll come in and put some pressure on you. So, they just have too many weapons to compete with it at some points. And, a lot of the NEA teams have kind of been met with that so far this year.
Yeah, and Gerard's hope is that they were able to win tomorrow, and then they have to hope that Jefferson pulls off 2 upsets in one season, because they'll still be a game back if they win tomorrow.
Yep.
Because they did have that 4-set loss to Jefferson. And one of the big reasons why was the new Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley nominee in Helena Edgar, who had 48 assists and ran that Jefferson offense to perfection.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw that. 4-set loss for Girard outside of Lakeview. And we talked about it. They've got a good non-conference schedule as well, beating Hoban, who a lot of teams have had some trouble with in 5 sets. They're going to play West Branch later on in the year. They're going to play Crestview, and they're going to play Gilmore Academy.
That's it. Like all these teams, they're getting ready for tournament. I think last year was a year where Girard ran into the buzzsaw at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. And this year they're like, we have to be ready when we hit Notre Dame Cathedral Latin this year. There's not going to be a Lakeview in their district anymore. There's going to be a Jefferson, but not a Lakeview. So you got to think it's going to come down to probably Girard in DCL if numbers, end up going chalk.
NDCL is a little bit down this year.
They're never down.
They're 8-5.
They're going to have an iffy record, but let me tell you, their schedule is ridiculous, and they're still probably going to be one of the top teams in that district.
Yeah, I mean they're just not as good as they were last year.
When you're a team that continues to go to state, you're going to attract really, really good volleyball teams to your schedule.
Yeah,
we see the same thing in champion softball. Right, this year they didn't have the state championship caliber roster, but they still had the state championship caliber schedule, which is why I think you saw their softball team kind of struggle a little bit, record wise. But they were ready for districts.
Well, let's see. They lost to Lake Catholic last year. So they're going to play them tomorrow night at 6:30. That'll be a good match.
That's a nice matchup outside of the YSN world of sports, in DCL versus Lake Catholic.
I hope you don't have to do this. Their leading hitter, I don't even know how you pronounce her last name.
For NDCL?
Yeah. Not even going to try.
Not even going to try it. I did that to you at YSU. Back when we were calling the game. Yeah, I looked down, I was like,
Nope.
I remember you had to try to compose yourself because you were the play-by-play and I was the color, and you're in the middle of a play, and I was like, that was a really good kill by.
Nope.
I didn't say nope. Good thing I didn't, because that would have been bad. I was like, that was a good play, and then I just kind of played it off.
Yeah.
But I looked down at that roster and I was like, not going to try that one.
Well, a lot of those players in college come from international.
I think it was like a
countries.
Greek. It was like a Greek.
A Greek name, yeah.
And there was a lot of
vowels.
UIC. A lot of vowels.
I do remember that.
Nope. Not going to try. Sometimes it's better to leave that there than embarrass yourself by trying. Let's take a quick break on Running Point. When we come back, we got Tolnar's take to play, and we'll talk about a couple of golf teams that are streaking in the right direction as sectionals and districts are just about a week and a half, 2 weeks away. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Shealy's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Shealy's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs,
welcome to the
call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clem. Hi, this is Steve Rossetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mill Creek Metro Parks is your park for all seasons. Make a memory in the park. Plan your visit today at millcreekmetroparks.org.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
We'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Oh, geez, that camera moved. All right, we'll just
Can you get it?
I don't.
You
know what?
You got your eyeballs.
I know. I don't know how it moved. I obviously don't move at all. I'm stuck in a wheelchair. I don't know how it got off of me and up my head. Well, I'll just go use the hose cam real quick. And
there you go.
I am. There I am.
That looks good.
Because we're going to play Tolnar's Take. We missed Brian this week. He is in some meetings, a little bit out of town, so he couldn't make his weekly debut, this weekly segment this week. But we do have Tolnar's Take, this week's episode of Tolnar's Take. So we're going to play that and give you some golf tips to carry on with the rest of the week. Beautiful day today. It's the high is 90. So if you're going to get out and golf, you got to soak it in because that fall weather is coming. It's starting to get chilly at night. It's the bad omen.
Well, to me, this is the best time to play because it's nice, it's cool, it's not hot. Usually around school time, the crowds, decimate. So you got a great pace of play pretty much at any course you want around this area. Mill Creek's in great condition. Played that last week with my stepdad and my stepbrother. So, that's a course that is definitely worth the price. Say that. It's challenging, but, that's what makes it fun, I think. With all the trees and, of course, you're in the park, it's going to be tough. Very narrow fairways, especially on the south course. But, it's fun. It presents a challenge, and, it's a well-designed course, to say the least.
When I went there last week to watch Boardman Golf take on Fitch, and some poor guy decided that it was time for him to golf at like 5 o'clock at night, and he got stuck behind the 5 and 6 players of the team, which are a little bit slower because they're not the best players on the team. And you could just tell how frustrated he was. They're like, let's go. He did not like the pace of play at all.
I mean, that's what you get when you go out at 5.
Sorry, you have other courses you can go to. You picked the back 9 of the North, which happens to be hosting a high school meet right now.
I don't know why I didn't go south, but the south is so much harder.
Probably that. He was probably one of the guys that was like, I don't want to do the south, but then he realized that he was stuck behind.
When we played in the AJGA, what was that? That was the day before they started their tournament.
Right.
In that golf outing.
Kind of the pro-am thing?
Yeah, the pro-am. Although we weren't.
I know, but
we weren't
the
pros.
same kind of setting. You guys were paired with players that were going to play in the AJGA.
Yeah, so we played with the girl from Canada, and we got to play the South course, which is my first time playing it because that's the hardest course. That's what they were going to play the next 3 days. And oh my goodness, was it difficult. That's the one right near 224. If you're driving by 224, you could see that long par 5 and the green there off the road. So it's definitely nice. I mean, it's in great shape. It's just so difficult. The greens are tough, very fast, very slope. You've got a narrow fairway on a couple of straightaway par 4s that, hey, if you move a little left or right, you're hitting trees. And you know what happens when you hit trees? You take a 50-50 chance. You got to either go good into the fairway or you're toast.
What also makes that course tough, I got to see last week, the Mill Creek lets their rough be rough. Right?
Oh, it is thick.
It's thick. They let that rough grow out. So if you're not in the fairway, and the fairways aren't exactly like the widest fairways in the world.
No.
If you're not in the fairway, you're in some tough lie.
No, 100%. You got to club up too sometimes. Like if you're $150 out, I usually hit my 8. I'm hitting like a 7 or a 6.
Which makes it so impressive. These high school kids are shooting like a 40 in a 9 hole, or even like a 79 in a 9 hole at Mill Creek.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, if you're shooting a 79,
Your
in Mill
normal
Creek-
Joe Schmo could go up and shoot like an 88, maybe if they're lucky.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm lucky if I get an 85. Like
You know?
if I hit an 85, I'm happy. So it just shows you how accurate they got to be with the ball, especially off the tee box. Tee box could either win you or lose you around.
And then you got to putt. You know what? Drive for show,
drive
putt for dough.
Yep, you got it right.
Got
that
it
time.
right. Matty Zines with a great nugget right there. We're gonna get to Tonar's take of the week, and then we'll come back, talk a little bit more golf before we get out of here, and give you the preview of the games and events that are going on tonight.
YSN Golf Tip of the Week. This week we're going to talk about another trouble shot that you'll find in golf where the golf ball is below your feet. So I'm standing above the golf ball and the golf ball's below my feet on a side hill lie that's sloping down and away from me. So you'll see the slope going this way. To combat that, we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to hit the normal club selection, but you want to keep in mind that a lie like this that slopes downward and away from my body, the golf ball is going to fly to that spot. So as the hill goes down this way, the golf ball is going to go and want to come off to the left to right from a ball flight pattern standpoint. So to combat that, I want to make sure that I'm a little bit left of target, giving myself enough room for this ball to sort of slice a little bit and fly a little bit lower. Because we're on this lie, I've got to do a couple adjustments. So I'm going to come into the ball a little bit closer than I normally would, and I'm going to favor my weight more towards the center to the heel of my foot. Normally we're always on the shoelaces or the centers of our feet. In this case, we want to make sure that the golf ball is there, kind of resting into the hill a little bit. So I'm going to be a little bit taller. I'm going to take my normal grip in my normal ball position. The only thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I'm a little bit left of the target because the ball is going to come off low and it's going to go off to the right. So if you make these adjustments and make sure that your weight's in good position, you're going to hit a lot of shots that are similar to this. And you'll notice that that golf ball worked about 15 or 20 yards from left to right. So it's very important that you get the alignment down. It's probably the most important, other than the balance of the golf shot, to make sure that you're in good position with your footwork to maintain a level balance and lower body stability. For more tips like this and others, go to YSN Live or catch us at Mill Creek Metro Parks at 330-740-7112 or find us on the web at millcreekmetroparks.org.
One take Tolnar, man. Every time we have one of those videos, he just gets the perfect shot on the perfect time. That ball did exactly what he wanted to do on the first take.
You know, that's a huge tip, especially when you play in West Virginia.
I saw your face as soon as he said when the golf ball's below your feet. You're like, oh, you struggled with that. I'm toast.
And when you play in West Virginia, you got all those hills. So every lie you have, the ball's below your feet.
Speaking of West Virginia, did you know they have the course with the longest hole in the world?
No,
it's like a 600+ yard par 5.
You know who also has one of those? Stambaugh in Youngstown. Stambaugh has one that's over 600.
I think the West Virginia course, it's like 645 yard par 5.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
good luck with that.
That is ridiculous. That takes you 4 shots to get on a green.
West Virginia, where you don't golf well.
No.
At all. We got a big match going on right now at the MVAC Championships in Salem Hill. Waterloo is one of the low-key favorites in the MVAC to win it. They're at 13 right now. Well, they're number 1. Jackson Eichler is in the 13th hole. Don't have an update on his score yet. They'll probably post the updates on their scores when they finish. But they had to have a little bit of a late start, a little bit of a rainy morning in Salem as the weather kind of cleared out. But they were able to start about 3 hours ago. I think maybe 20 or 30 minutes past their scheduled start time. So not too much. I think it's also supposed to storm tonight, if I'm not mistaken, but they'll be out of there by then. The weather opened up in a perfect window for the MVAC tournament at Salem Hills. Yesterday, Waterloo was able to end the regular season with a 2-stroke victory over Southeast. Eichler and Hughes both shot 42s for the Vikings. Florida shot a 43. Luke Simons, who is a player we know from the basketball court, very good basketball player, shot a 45, and then Smith shot a 45 as well. So the Vikings are 19-3 on the season. So We talked with Brian about this a little bit earlier. Like, it's really impressive. There are some smaller schools that are putting together really strong golf programs, which you don't really expect. You expect the big golf programs to be the bigger schools that have a big, pool of kids to pull from, bigger chance of finding good golfers. But teams like Waterloo, Jackson, Milton, Middle Ridge, all putting really good golfers on the course this season. And Waterloo, one of the best in the MVAC. They're probably the favorites to win it with that 19-3 record.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Salem Hills, that is a very popular spot for a lot of districts and a lot of playoff atmospheres. I know for a fact that they host a lot of like Salem matches that are one-on-one. There's a couple other schools around that area that also play there as their home course. So Salem Hills, if you are a high school golfer and you're going up through the system and you want to, get prepared for a course, it's either Mill Creek, Avalon, or Salem Hills.
Or I think I would add a fourth there, Lake Club.
And Lake Club,
right,
yeah.
In Youngstown.
Yep.
Pretty tough course, and I think it's host to a couple of the tournaments as well. It was host to the Treleski golf outing that a lot of our high school teams played in. By the way, Ursuline won that in the Division II round for the second straight year. So congratulations to the Ursuline girls for winning 2 straight Division II championships at that Treleski golf outing at the Lake Club. You can find a story on that at ysnlive.com for the Ursuline girls golf program that looks pretty good heading into sectionals. Yesterday, Salem Hills played host to the EOAC tournament, and Maddie Zines was able to get the win. She continued to set the bar for girls golf locally. 18-hole round of 84 at Salem Hills to be to win the EOAC. Columbiana's Izzy Travis finished second with a 96. So Maddie Zines won by 12 strokes. That's what we call a comfortable win.
Yeah, I would think
golf. So you can find all the total scores a little bit later on ysnlive.com. It'll be up right after the show. It's first on my list. Chris Sigler was kind enough to send me the results right before showtime, so I'll be able to post those right after the show. You can head over to ysnlive.com and let's say head over there in about 30 minutes. You can find the results from the EOAC tournament at Salem Hills from yesterday. Before we go, Richie, let's look at what's going to be on the network tonight as far as games. And I know you got a busy night because you're doing your Canvas interviews at Coca's Pizza as well. Who's going to be on with you tonight?
Gavin Raymond is going to come on. Aiden Rogers will also be on with me. Still waiting on the third that's coming. And then we'll have Mike Pavlansky who's going to come on as well. So always fun to go to Coca's. Thank you to Steve Coca and his entire organization for having us. We've been able to talk to a multitude of, the Canfield football players, including their star and Brock Lowry. So we're going to try and get all 24 seniors in. They've got a lot this year, and we will be able to because at this pace, we're doing 3 weeks.
You're going to 8 weeks. You're going to be 24. So and that's going to be fun. We look forward to seeing that content also tonight on ysnlive.com. So keep it on our website. Keep an eye on our social media pages as they'll go up in a hurry. We got some volleyball action tonight. Louisville comes to town. Austintown Fitch. 5:30 start time for this game. So a little bit earlier than you're used to. So make sure if you're going, you're there on time. And if you're tuning in, you tune in at 5:30. Ty Bartel will be on the call there. Ian O'Brien is heading to Girard as they test themselves before their Lakeview game as they host Boardman tonight at 7 o'clock. East will travel to Struthers. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock first serve. And then we'll have East Palestine at Heartland Christian. Noah Doty will have the call there. And you know what? I think I should correct myself because Louisville Fitch is on the schedule twice. Is Ty doing JV varsity? It's green for 5:30. It's green for 7.
I have no idea. I assume so.
I mean, we might have 2 volleyball games on the network tonight from Austintown Fitch. We go to girls soccer. Jefferson will be at Poland. Matt Mayer and Jordan will have the call there. Warren Harding will be at Boardman. It'll be Connor Blasco and Eric Lytle on the call for that one. And then South Range will travel to Hubbard. David Williams will call that girls soccer match. And then one boys soccer game on the network tonight is Jefferson and Poland will be there. 5 o'clock start. So boys first, girls second in Poland. Doubleheader on the girls soccer realm.
Okay, yeah. So you got girls at 7. That's kind of a switch. Usually, girls go first.
I think when you have your girls program that is in line to win the NE8, they kind of take they take the prime time.
Well, Poland is just as good on the boys' side.
I know. Noah Huda is a legend, and we had the chance to talk with him this weekend. You can find his player profile on ysnlive.com. But he's a legend in himself, in his own right. So that's what's going to be on the network tonight. We got girls soccer, boys soccer, volleyball, anything you'd want to watch. We got it. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find those games. We'll also have interview content from Richie from Coco's Pizza with Canfield football interviews. And then we'll also have, recaps and all that on ysnlive.com later tonight too. So make sure to stay updated on our site and make sure to stay updated on ysnlive.com/live. Tune in tonight. Thank you for tuning in today. I'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2 with DJ Yoakley as we go over the results from tonight. We will have live on the show Coach Frank from South Range Girls Golf, who is starting their program this year. First year as a program. We'll talk to her about what it's like to start a program. That's kind of an unprecedented thing. We first time we've been able to talk to someone that's just starting a program from scratch. Mm-hmm. And they finished third in the NE8 this year in the tournament. So we'll talk to her, and we'll also have a couple of pre-recorded interviews that we'll be able to play tomorrow as well from 12 to 2, 22 hours.